Right, hello everyone. Let me know if you can see and hear me here because this is the first time I've attempted this, so it might go a bit pear-shaped. Anyway, so we'll quickly go into the comments. By the way, I've got a big appreciation for Jack Dodds, Mad Mistake, Thane, whoever else it is. Actually, setting up streams is not exactly the easiest thing. We got the Manix who's put a heart emoji. Love you too, mate. Thank you. Jack Shaw, hello, Michael. Hope you're both doing all right. And obviously, whoever else is watching on a fine Sunday, if you're watching the Jubilee at all, or you're just going to sit here and be sad and watch me. But anyway, the reason I decided to do this was because if you remember about 9 or so days ago, I can't believe it was that long ago since I posted this. I'll get to this in a bit, but I posted a comment on Twitter and on my YouTube community tab where I asked people who you'd want to sign this summer, basically. And unbeknownst, I got quite a lot of responses. I got about 76 replies, and I got 73 or whatever it was, and I think I got a further 25 or 27, whatever it was, on YouTube. So honestly, yeah, absolutely insane, absolutely insane. But before I get to that, I'm going to try and do this concisely and as briefly as possible. And this is from a person on Twitter called Jeff Bozek. Now, apologies if I've got your name wrong, mate. I don't know if you're watching this. But he says, at Bose Knows 55. And he put, now the season is over, I would love for you to do a wrap-up video of where we were after the 6-0 loss and how the season finished. I know you discussed the 3-phase thing to get promoted, but did you truly believe we had a chance? So Jeff, this is for you. I'm going to try and keep this brief because I know people are probably here to sort of want to go through signings and whatnot. But and let me know your comments in the live chat. I should say. I was almost going to say down below there. But I asked if people would be interested, and it turns out that quite a few people are interested. So, for context, for what Jeff was saying, if you look at the, by the way, hello, Cluffy, nice to see you, and apologies in advance for getting anyone's names wrong. But obviously, as Jeff was saying, if you look at a wrap-up video of the season, and a few podcasts have done this. If you cast your mind back to the 6-0 loss, which was appropriate because it was when Lee Johnson was sacked. You remember Sunderland were third in the league at that point, but we'd obviously got the worst result in our history, which it can't be ignored. It was, and that's no disrespect to Bolton because they shouldn't be down in League One either. But it is this 6-0 in the third tier of English football. I mean, come on, it's not exactly good enough, is it? But I mean, and then as for the rest of the season, obviously, you look at the next couple of weeks, excuse me, language, went a bit tits up in trying to appoint a new manager, which took about a good amount of time, longer than it really should have took, if we're being honest. It took about a good 2 weeks, I think, to appoint Alex Neil. So we went to go and appoint Roy Keane, stalled over Roy Keane, then went back to Alex Neil. Mental. And it cost us 2 wins, basically, against Doncaster and Cheltenham. Even though I do believe the players should be taking more responsibility from the fans for those 2 results, because I believe that what we had against Doncaster should have been good enough to beat them. Bottom of the league at the time, for crying out loud. And then we were 1-0 up against Cheltenham and then ended up not being at the races. Terrible joke. I'll try and keep them to a minimum. And then we ended up losing 2-1. Alex Neil comes in. And unbeknownst, and if I don't know about any of you guys, but if you can imagine, if someone said to me, after we drew with Wimbledon, lost to MK Dons, and scraped a draw against Burton, that we would go on to get promoted, I thought you'd be having me on. Absolutely having me on. Hello, Steve Flounders, by the way. Hope you're all right. Wee Snooker, would you take Callum Doyle on another season-long loan? Well, by the way, it looks like people can see. Well, maybe that's unfortunate. It looks like people can see and hear me. So there we go. To answer your question, mate, yeah, it's a funny one because if he was going to play, yes, but Alex Neil didn't play him that much when he came in, did he? So for me, I think it would be, you might as well save that loan slot for someone else, in my opinion. But anyway, if you look at the effect Alex Neil had, and you look at the rest of it, the rest of the season, for me, let me know if you disagree with me in the comments, guys. But for me, the big turning point was when we drew against Burton, last-minute equaliser, and then we went to win 3-0 away at Wigan. And I still, to this day, can't believe we did that. 3-0 away at Wigan, who were high-flying, who ended up going on to win the league. It was absolutely mental, absolutely ridiculous. And for me, that was the big turning point. And what Jeff meant by the 3 phases thing is, I think it was around the time of the 2 home games against Fleetwood and Crewe, I said that the rest of the season was in 3 stages. The stage 1 was to finish in the playoffs. Stage 2 was to get past the semi-finals, and stage 3 was to win the final. So that was the way I looked at it. And I know that sounds overly simplistic, and obviously it's not as easy as that. But that was the way I looked at it. If you do those 3 things, we are in the championship. And obviously, we finished in the playoffs, which, by the way, was mental that it took, what was it? We finished on some like 84 points, I think. And it turns out you would have needed 81 points or 80 points with a good goal difference just to finish in the top 6. Absolutely bonkers. Absolutely crazy. Then obviously we got past the semi-finals in Chef Wed and then beat Wickham in the final. Before I continue, let's have a look. Adam says, I wouldn't take Callum Doyle if we get Dion. I think I'd probably agree with that. I think Dion Sanderson would be a better option for the championship. Not to say I don't like Callum Doyle, because I do. But I think Dion Sanderson would have more chance of playing regularly. Keith Lupton, delighted with the end result. Perth, Western Australia. Fair enough. John Earl, do you think it would be good if KLD's mum gets involved gets properly involved, as she has real wealth and she was at Wembley plus 2 home games I know about? Maybe, but I think what we have to remember is going into the championship that we can't spunk loads and loads of money, because we tried to do that with Ellis Short and look where it nearly led us. You want to spend money to a degree, don't get me wrong. You want to spend more than you do in League One, of course, because it's a much harder division. And it's a much better quality of division. And I always stand by that. League One's competitive, but at the same time, I don't think it's good. I don't think it's a good league. They could get away with a lot more in League One than the Championship. But to be fair, it's about finding the right balance of not spending too much, but still spending something at the same time. Man Malcolm's is me mate, Chris. Will Wright renew? I hope so. I'm a big fan of his. I'm a Bailey Wright fanboy. Cluffy says, me and my dad are a big fan of Willis. Would you be happy to keep him if we could? If you could guarantee me he was going to be fit, then yes. Unfortunately, I don't think we could. And at the same time, for all we know, he might have lost a yard of pace. But I'm with you. I was a big fan of Willis. I liked him. It's a shame with his injuries. Anyway, Steve Lawrence, Michael, Doyle for me is a good player. Many fans weren't bothered when we let Egan go and he's had a good career at high level. Would take him and Sanderson. Yeah, I would. You look at it, Doyle would be another loan. So in some ways it would be cheaper. Let me know in the chat. Do you want me to go through at the end who I would go for this summer? Because I was debating whether to do that as its own separate video. But if you want me to say it here, I can. It just means I have to think of more content. Josh Langley. Not sure if anyone has asked this, but I've just tuned in, but Ruddy is a no-brainer, right, mate? Yeah, I'd say so. 35 years old, but he's an experienced goalkeeper, got promoted from the Championship, and it'll be good for Patterson. Even if Patterson is still number 1, I think it's a good shout. What was number 1? I think I missed a question here. Oh, yeah, Will Allen. If we brought no new players in, where would we finish? At best, probably 20th or 21st. I do think we will bring players. And by the way, I say that because I think Birmingham and Reading have got some big financial problems going on. So for me, I would imagine that we would probably, I'd still think we'd probably, because there's a good chance they might get a points deduction, both of them. I mean, both of them, I don't know if Birmingham did, but Reading definitely got a points deduction last season. And then obviously you've got the other 2 promoted clubs, Wigan and Rotherham. And as it stands right now, I think our team's better than both of theirs. Well, okay, maybe better as a stretch, but I certainly don't think it's worse than either of them. Anyway, let's have a look. Sean Swan, we should go for Dwight Gale. Well, fine enough. I'll come on to that and I'll read through people's comments. Steve Flounder's in the minority with Ruddy. Genuinely think he's way past his best. Surely we could get better. Yeah, but it depends. Are we bringing a keeper in to be experienced backup for Patterson, or are we bringing someone in who's going to compete with him? It all depends on the answer to that question for me. Right, I'm going to try. So I've made you wait nearly 9 minutes, you poor souls. I'm going to try and see if I can get to the point, which is, yeah. Anyway, hang on, bear with me. You can tell I'm not organised whatsoever. Anyway, just to make it clear, I put this question up, I think was it something like 9 days ago, about who would people want to sign. So if I mention someone in the replies to this who has since transferred to another club or whatever way it is, then yeah, I think, then just remember that. This was put up 9 days ago. This was put a few days after Wembley. Richie, yeah. I think some of our fans would say no because they're at Newcastle, but I think we need to let that go, because I think if you look at the likes of Gale, Richie, Jamal Lewis isn't even playing for Newcastle at the minute. So if you offered me all 3 of those players, I'd snap your hand off for them. Alan Gardner, spend enough to keep us in it first season and save the transfer money for a big push in second season. Yeah. Not a bad shout. I mean, to be fair, I mean, people say you need to spend a lot of money. Not really. I think you could get good championship players for modest fees. It just depends how smart you are with your recruitment. Right, here we go. So, bear with me. This is a long list. Um, but anyway, Mason, I've seen Colton the Sky Bournemouth sniffing around for Richie again. Yeah, Richie probably wouldn't come here. To be honest, none of them probably would because of the Newcastle connection. Anyway, so this was on Twitter, 26th of May, and I asked people who they wanted to sign. So bear with me here. So I with the lads 1988 put Ruddy. Well, obviously, yeah, me mate Chris. Morgan Gray put might be a long shot, but Ben Foster, experienced keeper at Patterson and cool YouTube videos. Yeah, it'd be probably worth it for just for that alone, wouldn't it? Harry Days, Dion Sanderson return. Tony Gardner obviously agrees with that on there. Daniel John Fenwick, Sam Greenwood on loan from Leeds. Lee Benji, is it Le Benji or Lee Benji? Sorry, mate, I've probably got that wrong. Billy Gilmore, Chelsea looking to loan him out again would be an idea for us. Yeah, I think the fact, hang on, Billy Gilmore, where was he? Oh, yeah, he was at Norwich, wasn't he? Maybe. Didn't have the greatest of time at Norwich, did he? Bran Alver, Scott Twine looks class and would fit our way of playing, but we really need to left and left back, another striker and centre back cover. Stuart Beckett, whilst he's been much improved under Alex Neil, I don't fancy going into the championship with Serkin as first choice left back. So an experienced championship performer he can learn from would be at the top of my list. Greg Cunningham from Preston, maybe. Wouldn't be a bad shout. Depends if he ended up working with Alex Neil, didn't he? Cabby says, I'd love us to get Daniel Jefferson as a backup striker. Been watching him play a lot throughout the past season, and he definitely has championship quality. Would he want to be backup, though? I'd have him, but would he want to be backup? Owen Sarah, for me, Charlie Austin. He's an experienced championship and Premier League striker and is currently a free agent. For a season or two, who could be an option to keep us stable. Hannah Brown, good shout. Talked to her quite a bit. Anyone that fits the system and helps us improve. You can say names, but I'll get disappointed when they don't turn up and go elsewhere. So Sunderland. Steve 2013. Now, I can't remember what your surname is, mate. Sorry in advance if you're watching, but I've seen you before. Hopefully you're doing all right, mate. I'm going to get this name wrong. Panucci Kamara from Plymouth. Please, someone correct me. I'm terrible with pronunciations. Tyler SCFC 266 says Skykes from Accrington. I've got a feeling it might be Sykes, but I could be wrong. Jack at J47172188. I love some of these handles. Just get Alex Neil tied down, not a rolling contract. This makes me very nervous. Well, Roke Report made a good shout that it could be that this could go pear-shaped still. This could go badly. I don't think it. I'd like to hope it won't, but you never know with Sunderland's. But and it means this rolling contract would end up allowing us to let him go, basically. So hopefully that's not the case. I don't imagine it will be, but hopefully not the case. SCFC Sarah, Twine from MK Dons and would love Sanderson back. Callum Cook 17, Scott Twine or Kamara from Argyle. Michael Oakes says, I'll talk to him quite a bit as well. And actually, he is Spineless says, yeah, she was saying this as well. So these two comments are basically saying Tom Lawrence. Michael's putting, for example, Tom Lawrence makes a lot of sense, can play multiple positions and is a good age. Free transfer, but wages may be a problem. Alan Campbell from Luton always seems to have a good game when I've watched him. Bit of bite in midfield. I'd try and sign Clark and Broadhead too. Next one, Marley Gibson. Says, got 3. Experienced goalkeepers such as Ben Foster, similar to Scott Carson at Man City. Scott Twine, good young talent, set pieces, quick scores and assists. Will want out of MK this year. The next one is unlikely, but Dwight Gale, brilliant championship striker and would be on a free. Next one, Dom and Dan says, would love to see Twine, seems pretty realistic as well. David Gunn, Scott Twine. Gaz Fisher, I'd like to see us go for Aidan Flint on a free and spend some money on Twine from MK Dons. I'm sensing a pattern with Scott Twine here. I'll quickly go to the comments here. Good, before I'll take a break so we can get people involved. Alan Gardner, again, mentioned that comment already. Mikel on Allen says, Twine and Darling, 5 million joint deal. Will Allen not going to get Gilmore? Yeah, I'd imagine probably not. Sanderson, Eddie Bamber. Sanderson under and Alex Neil isn't a very exciting prospect. He's a very exciting prospect regardless, mate. How would you not want to play for Alex Neil, the beautiful, bald Scottish man? Will Allen, are our full-back options good enough? At right back, definitely not. Well, it depends. Huggins, but we haven't seen much of him play. Serkin, I think, could be, but I would want an experienced championship left back. Mason, would you take Izzy Brown if he keeps fully fit? Is he going to keep fully fit? I suppose that's the question, isn't it? If he's a good option for the championship, then fair enough. Alan Garner, Sanderson, Brannan. I don't know whether you mean Barry Bannon. I could be wrong, mate. Alan, correct me if I'm wrong, please. And Kamala. I'm guessing he means Kamara from Plymouth. It would be a good start. If that's who you mean, then yes. Barry Bannon won't come. And to be honest, I think we could get better than Barry Bannon now. And I think Barry Bannon will stay at Sheffield anyway. I think he's a Sheffield boy through and through now. Thomas Owens, Troy Parrott on loan deal from Spurs. Could be a bad shout. Sorry, could be a good shout. Depends if he can make a step up. Ethan Todd, Kamara from Plymouth. Josh Langley, Ben Brereton from Blackburn. Not realistic, but would be good. Scored 23, I think, no season in the Championship. Yeah, but Blackburn's. I mean, if he's going to leave Blackburn, he's probably going to go to a Premier League team or certainly a good high-end Championship team. Jack Shaw, I think Sunderland should sign Brereton Diaz from Blackburn Rovers. Hey, I'd have him, but I don't think that's realistically going to happen, unfortunately. Right, back to the Twitter ones. How many is there? Blimey, there's still quite a bit here. Okay, I am going to read everyone because I don't want anyone to be left out of this. Right, Nathan, SCFC Nathan. Mikel Allen, by the way, I think Spurs would sell Parrott now, to be honest. Maybe. If they sell him, then why not? Fits the model. Anyway, SCFC Nathan. Defo like the suggestion of Tom Lawrence, but maybe on a sizable wage. Scott Twine will be in demand, but we should be in for him. Presume we will also be in for one or two of Preston's many released players Alex Neil may want. Yeah, Tom Barkhausen's an example of that. Liam Madison, Tom Lawrence and Bellick from Derby, I think. Jaden Bogle, Brendan Johnson or Tyrese Campbell. Grady Diangnana? I got that name really wrong. Callum O'Hare. Nicholas. Josh Madger, maybe. SCFC Republic. Tom Lawrence, definitely worth a shout. Or Michael Hellick, Barnsley. Paul Carey. Two players I'd like to try and sign are Scott Twine and Jordan Story. Papa Bear 72, maybe Madger back. Edith Story, Broadhead and Gooch. Dan Hinder. I would like to see us bring back Ballymumba from Norwich. Maybe someone like Jamal Lowe and also that big mush Penucci Kamara. He had a great battle with Matete, but ultimately looked the better player. Then there's the need for another striker. Matt Cams has put two options. Probably unlikely, but Danny Welbeck and Ronnie Edwards of Peterborough. Callum's put, feel like everyone's saying Scott Twine, but we don't want to be doing the same thing with him as we did with Greg. He's had one good season in League One. Don't want to put all our eggs in one basket. For me, I'd look at Gale from Newcastle, proven goal machine at this level. Let me see if there's quickly a reply to this. Yeah, Ryan Riley says, Twine can play in mid... How have I not seen this comment? Twine can play midfield and is more versatile than Gale and has years to learn. Would rather go for him, but our budget isn't going to be massive by the sounds of it. Josh Montague, Harry Darling from MK Dons, cracking up-and-coming centre-back, Scott Twine, and of course Dion Sanderson. Stephen Hales, Max Power. Yeah, I tagged Sean Middleton in that, which is so funny because he really doesn't like him for some reason. Next one is Charlie Hodgson, Josh Madger, Alex Smithies, Aidan Flynn, Dwight Gale, Will Vokes, Tom Lawrence, Gary Cahill, and then Military Rashica. Okay, I think I might. Please correct me again. I know I keep saying this, but keep correcting us. Dave Wood, would you welcome a bid for Josh Madger? For me, depends on what the price is. I think he's got a bit of making up to do with the Sunderland fans for the way he left, but I might be in a minority on that one. Ter Forth says Dwight Gale. Ben Megason, Chong on loan from Man U. He was at Blues and they say he's decent. Kingy, Twine all day long. How are the lads? Team of Pookie if Broadhead doesn't come back. I think Pookie's signed a new deal at Norwich, so I think and Norwich are certainly going to be up there this course of this coming season, whereas we probably won't be. Luke Hill, I'd take Gale, highly unlikely, but he's a quality striker for the Championship. Then Eddie SCFC Bites says, not sure who, but we'll need an experienced keeper if Patterson doesn't make the cut. Don't want a repeat of the keeper situation during our last Championship season. No, we definitely do not want that. SCFC Nathan responded, unless we look to buy same keepers we had that season. It's impossible to have a repeat. Well, we'll wait and see about that one. You know what Sunderland are like? It's like, hold my beer. Matthew Rodney says, Tyrese Campbell will do me. Whoa. I didn't see that until now. It's really funny. I think I'm seriously looking after a while. Twitter, I think, just doesn't notify you of the comments. Luke Collins, Scott Twine would be a good shout if Clark and Broadhead don't come back. And so Hazy, SCFC, no one, I think. I think Clark Harrison Peterborough has a lot to offer. Big, strong lad with pace and height. Alex Neil could certainly improve him. Lord Barrold. Never appreciates how good a name that is. I'd seriously consider returning to Dion Sanderson. He clicked here and looked good with crap around him. Why not push at a low-cost deal as he's done little since and knows our place? Obviously, Mark Han had said John Swift free from Reading, but he's since gone to West Brom. Chloe Thompson says Michael Hector available on a free heavy championship experience with Fulham. Harry Tyndall says Kamara from Argyle and Johnny Evans, like you're thinking. Fraser Nicholson, bring Sanderson back. Scott Twine would be canny, and also Messi would be class too. Yeah, do you fancy getting £5 a week and a pack of peanuts, Messi? I'm sure we can offer you that when you go to Luton away. Michael Allen says, this the 11 I'd like to see you start the season with. Shouldn't be too expensive to assemble. I think we need to strengthen our spine big time ahead of the season opener. So the team he's put is Anthony Patterson, Niall Huggins, Dan Ballard, Alfie Mawson, Dennis Serkin, Max Bird, Joe Rothwell, Alex Pritchard, and a front three of Scott Twine, Ross Stewart, and Patrick Roberts. I like the front three, mind. I like Pritchard behind him. I think that's good enough to cause problems in the championship. But it just depends. Andy, JDHM, Jack Clark. I think another one said Dembele from Celtic. Mark Jones says Sean Hutchinson, Millwall centre-back, solid championship defender. Blimey, I really haven't seen some of these. Okay, solid championship. Let's have a look. Where is it? Here we go. Thomas Norskov, Scott Twine and Harry Darling, MK Dons, Alex Gorin and Luke McNally, Oxford, Anthony Scully from Lincoln. Funny enough, we've been linked with him. And Massimo Luongo, Chef Wed. Kane's put, I know he plays for Newcastle, so he might not come. However, if we can get him, possibly Dwight Gale. He hardly gets a game. He's like Mitrovic, where he's guaranteed goals in the championship. Just my opinion. Fair enough. I also think we need pace in the squad, possibly on the wings too. Ryan Jackson said, wouldn't mind getting Dion Sanderson and Nathan Broadhead back, even if it's another loan deal for a season. Isaac Cliff says Scott Twine. Matthew Reed says John Swift from Reading. Well, obviously, he's gone to West Brom. Twine from MK Dons. Kamara from Plymouth. Aidan Frint Flea, I think. Will Heinmarsh 9 says Pukey because he is a machine. Again, it's going to stay at Norwich by the looks of it. I'd be very surprised. I'd take him, but I'd be very surprised if we got him. John Lorraine, I would honestly go for Dwight Gale, proven championship player, and I'm guessing the Mags will want rid of him. Yeah, they probably will, to be fair. Don't worry, guys. I promise I will get back to your comments as soon as I finish reading this. Josh at Josh K2107. Twine from MK. I know a lot of clubs are after him, but think he'd be a good addition to the squad and could do wonders under Alex Neil. Obviously, Broadhead again next season, whether that be loan or permanent. Tickle my gooch. What a name, by the way. What a name. Job Bellingham would make a lot of profit if he turns out anything like Jude. Why not? Get the younger Bellingham. I presume he's a younger one. Aidan Churns, Pukey, if we can get him to come, been at Norwich for years, change to a bigger club. Definitely in a couple of years, but I think right now it depends what our aim is. Ian, at Big M1945, Dion Sanderson for me. Jay Robinson put, I think Tom Rogic? Oh, God, from Celtic, as his contract was up, would be a great signing, but wages could be a problem. Lucas Evans, Kamara from Argyle. I think he's a free agent in the summer. I believe he's got 1 year left on his contract. And then from there, anything can happen, to be fair. Robbie Gibson. That Will Grigg, he's on a free. Looks decent. Oh, God. And finally, we are getting there. John, and obviously I've got the YouTube community tab stuff to read, but John at John 676841101. Mawson would be a good shout at the back. Andre Gray's a free agent and good championship player. I'd love to see Madja back. Of course, if we get Broadhead, then one of Gray or Madja. Dwight Gale is a good shout at this level too. And I agree with a lot saying Sanderson. If we have Wright, Bart, Mawson and Sanderson, I see that as very strong. So, let's quickly go through the chat if I read anything else. Let's have a look. Where was I up to? Oh, yeah, I was about the Burton and stuff. Coffee again. I'd like a centre forward to play alongside Roscoe, like Johnson Clark Harris would be a good option. Josh Langley, everyone give this man a like if you're enjoying this. He deserves it. Thanks, mate. I'm amazed this hasn't gone messed up, to be honest. Anymore. Hey, up. Nice one, mate. Hopefully you're doing all right. Porsche's sexy boyfriend. By the way, some of the names that people come up with just make me laugh. It's really funny. Bring Defoe home. Love it, mate. Nathan says, bring back a Soro. If his attitude was right, then yes. Ethan Todd, Will Vokes is SCFC fan too. Rush's boyfriend, Will Craig. Jack Shaw, what do you think about Max Aarons from Norwich? I would absolutely take him in a heartbeat, but there's no way he's coming here. One, he's going to look to go to a club in the Premier League, I would imagine. And two, it'd be way too expensive for us. We wouldn't be able to afford him for what Norwich will want. And fair enough, he's one of their academy graduates, so at least I think he is. But they want to get a good amount of money for him. But I'd absolutely love him if we could. Johnny Dawson, Tom Lawrence defo worth a punt. Jacob Aviard, I would like to see Antoine Semenyo, Ballymumber and Dion Sanderson. Random men, possibly Jacob Murphy if available. Thomas Owens, Tom Ince, another club for his Wikipedia page. Hey, what's up, go? Hey guys, what's up, so? It's Thane. You're all right, mate. Definitely doing all right. Cheeseburger nationalism. Honestly, I think I should do a video about me top 10 commented videos, like top 10 names. Will Smallbone is available on loan. Stevie Watts, afternoon, Michael. Stevie's a Plymouth fan. Hopefully you do well next season. Dream, how are you, Michael? I am doing very well, mate. Hopefully you are on this fine Sunday. That's kind of great. Peter Harvey, I am optimistic. I think playoffs in the championship, onwards and upwards. We want to get to the Premier League and play Magpies. Pukey would be a finished deal. I like what you did there. Jacob Aviard, of course. Thin SCFC, poor impression. Told you, I suck at impressions, unless it's my mistake. Random man, Joel Lewis from Newcastle. Yep. Honestly, like I said earlier, a lot of their fringe players I would have in a heartbeat, but again, I doubt that they would come to us. Michael Alonso said, people shouting for Barton right, and you understand that, but we need to keep in mind that they dropped to League One for a reason. That being that they are the only fringe players in the struggling championship teams. Well, to be fair, I'm pretty sure, and I think Jack Dodd said this on Fan TV, that I believe that Danny Bart apparently was one of Stoke's best players in the first half of last season. And bearing in mind, Stoke are a club that should be up in the playoffs, but they were certainly nowhere near the bottom three, and we managed to persuade them to drop down to League One. So, but I'd like some. I think just made the point here. Would do a job. But we need some younger centre backs with pace. I agree with that. I think a pacey centre back or two wouldn't go amiss. Steve Watson says, also a fan of all things EFL champion, mate. What actually, Steve, you tell me what's the deal with Kamara? I know he's put a transfer request in, but what's his contract situation and how much are Plymouth may be looking for him? Josh Langley, it looks like these transfer rumours that Alex Neil's going for people he's managed before, but I think I'd love to see Wyman from Bristol City or Wyman if he's done well this season. Jacob Abiad, okay, here's a my mistake impression. He can meme this. Well, here we go, back again with another video. So here today, we are going to go through the season review of Sunderland AFC's promotion-winning season. And we are going to go through who you want to see in the transfer market ahead of next season. There you go. Meme that, whatever you want. Tim Talley says, new listener from Thailand. Will another team come and take away Dan Neil? Or will he be a centrepiece for Sunderland for a long time? Dan Neil's a funny one because, again, Alex Neil doesn't seem to fancy him because he just hasn't played him. So, I don't know. Like I said, Dan Neil, for me, I would start him. I would say Dan Neil's good enough for the championship. But Josh Langley when saw something a pint and going, Terry's a nutcase, man. I love him. But yeah, I mean, Dan Neil, I would have him. But I think if Alex Neil's not going to play him, then the right thing to do for me is to sell him and make some money at least. Hang on, let's have a look. Dream. Okay, Dream. So he's put a couple of comments. I'm a City fan. I'm happy with Man City new signing. I'm assuming he means Haaland, unless I've just lived under a rock the last couple of days. Mikel Allen. No, he only got in because of injuries and did well, but he was a fringe player. He did well in the shite Stoke team. Well, Stoke were doing shite for their standards, but I wouldn't say they're a rubbish team in the championship. Michael Atkinson. If he has a good season, do you think Dan Neil would get a start under Alex Neil? Well, if he has a good pre-season, then you never know. You could have anything happen there, I suppose. But I don't know. I've lost my train of thought there. Oh yeah, like I said, I'd use him. But again, if we're not playing him, you might as well sell him. Then SCFC, or Tane, as Terry calls him. John Ruddy has been mentioned today. Personally, I can't see it happening. Worked with Neil at Norwich. Sorry, personally can see it happening. Sorry, I got that wrong. Jacob, maybe a great impression, Michael. Well, at least one person thinks so, I guess. Thomas Huntley maybe going for Michael Hellick. Cheeseburger nationalism. Michael Obafemi had a decent end to season in Swansea. Try and get him. Then Hellick is a good shout. Take him in a heartbeat. Thomas Huntley. Matt Clark, is he out of contract? Josh Langley. I just want to know where the preseason is. If it's not under closed doors, I'd like to go. And finally, Stevie Watson said, not sure, mate. This is about Kamara at Plymouth. Not sure, mate. I know he has a year left on his contract. I think Argyle are just waiting for the best bid, to be honest. I think he wants championship football. Can't say I blame him. I'll be shocked if he's still an Argyle player next season. Well, Stevie, do you think he's good enough for the championship then, from what you've watched? Because obviously that's the thing. You always want, you know, that some players are good for League One, but you don't know if they're good enough for the championship until they start playing in the championship. So we never know. Anyway, Jacob Abiad said, I'd like to see Danny Welbeck back at Sunderland. Thomas Huntley says, Ben Davis from Liverpool, saw your tweet about him. Let me know, again, just let me know, because I think Jacob said, I think one person said they would want me to, but let me know if you want me to go through in a minute who I would want to sign. To be honest, even if you say no, I might do it anyway because I'm just an idiot. Thane says, basically need a clone Alex Pritchard. Johnny Dawson, Danny Barth is definitely championship standard, but we need a certain younger centre-back such as Dion Sanderson. I would also love to see Reece Oxford at the club. Like I said earlier, it's all about, if you can sign some younger centre-backs with pace, then I think you're in a good shout, because I think the likes of Bailey Wright, if he signs a new contract, I think is definitely good enough. Danny Barth, I actually think could be good enough. I think if you had a back three of them two, plus say Sanderson as an example, someone who's got a bit of pace, it's the right balance of athleticism, pace, and experience. I'll quickly touch on the contracts. Obviously, Patrick Roberts, hopefully will sign a new contract. Likewise, the same with and I'm going to say this with Lyndon Gooch actually, because although I don't rate him to start, I think as a squad player, if we let him go, we'd have to replace him and probably spend money to replace him for someone who's got the right attitude. So for me, you might as well keep him as for the squad, and I think he'd be good enough for that. Thane says, Ben Davis on loan from Liverpool would be decent. Think he worked with Neil at Preston. Yeah, well, I know that apparently he has been linked with Sheffield United, I think, or someone said he might be Sheffield United bound because he was on loan there last season. But if Alex Neil's worked with him, and I think he uses the right cards, and I'm not being funny, with all due respect to Sheffield United, I think Sunderland are a bigger club, even though we have just come up from League One. Ben Davis out of contract, I think. I'm afraid he's not. I think he signed a 3 or 4.5 year deal at Liverpool just about 18 months ago. So I think he's got I'm sure he's got at least 2 years, but I might be wrong. Random man, Papi Cisse. Then everybody's linked with Sheffield United at the moment, and John says, nice thumbs up. Thumbs up, as Sean Middleton would go. Well, I'll tell you what then, screw it. I was going to do my own video on this, but to be honest, I might as well do it now. Quickly, Mikel Allen. Dan Ballard did really well in the Millwall team that finished 9th. He's only 22 and Arsenal willing to sell. Well, in looking at my own list, I think there was a couple of players there that I think are unreal. There's one player I put in there that's definitely not going to happen. But it's someone that, if he's available for compensation, I'll be looking at asking the question. But I think he'll get Premier League football, and that's Eddie Nketiah. I thought at first, go for him. But then I thought, actually, no, he's playing for Arsenal. He was playing for Arsenal every week, so there's no way he's going to drop down to the Championship. Just depends on how ambitious you are, but I'd be very surprised if that ended up coming off. So Alex Nolan. Jacob Aviot, sorry. Thin Casey would be happy with that. Absolutely, says Thin. Alex, the 3 players could do a shout. Nathan Byrne from Derby seemed good for a fullback as well as Lawrence, and also from Blackburn Tyrese Dolan looked good and had a good season just gone. Mason, would you take Corey Smith? I've been living under a rock with him, Mason, because I've not heard of him. I'm assuming, see how did he do at Swansea? Who never knows. As Stain says, he's a Swansea, Gateshead, and Galatasaray fan. Paul Cook, Dion Sanderson there, 100%. Anyway, the players I would go with, Ben Davis is one of them, because I'm sure Liverpool signed him for something like 2 million a couple of seasons ago. And to be fair, he's worked with Alex Neil before. Wages might be an issue. I don't know. It all depends. Dion Sanderson, the next one, and I'll be looking to try and get him on a permanent, by the way. I'd look to try, because Wolves, there's been an article that I can't remember where it was. It might have been from the Wolves end, to be fair, where they said they're debating selling him or loaning him out again to generate some funds. So if they're looking to do that, I would look to try and get him. Goalkeeper, personally for me, I would go with Ben Foster. But again, wages, that could be the issue. And I think someone put, I think I saw somewhere that someone suggested he wants to go to the ALS. Sorry, not ALS, MLS. So I might be wrong on that. You can tell I've never done a stream on my own before. David Walker, Eddie Nketiah, only striker Arsenal got at the moment. Yeah, but he's out of contract next month, so he hasn't signed a new deal. But I mean, I've ruled that out. He's not going to drop Arsenal for Sunderland. Anyway, so I want to say Ben Foster, Ben Davis, Dion Sanderson. We'll go with Kamara from Plymouth then, because Stevie said he thinks he is good enough for the Championship. And let me just go back to his comment. Yes, without a doubt. He gave you number 27, which is Matete, a torrid time at home park. I think everyone knows he will do a job at a higher level. Okay, we'll buy Kamara off you. You can loan Matete for the season. Right, anyway. Paul Cook, Jack Clark, Broadhead, Sanderson. Yeah, well, there you go. So Kamara from Plymouth. Jack Clark, here's one, because Jack Clark seems to split quite a bit of opinion among Sunderland fans. I personally like him. I think there's I'll go on a limb here. I think there's a Championship player in there with the right development. I think with Alex Neil especially, I can't see any reason why he wouldn't be able to do a job in the Championship. And you've got to bear in mind as well, with Clark, he's got a year left on his contract at Spurs. There was an article somewhere that said, I think that said, and I don't know how accurate it is, but apparently Spurs are considering offloading him, and it's good for his career to go out and play games. And he's already been at Sunderland, and he's helped us get promoted. So for me, it all depends on the fee. The one big thing is that Daniel Levy is I'm going to swear, he's a bastard to negotiate with. Um, he's an absolute bastard to negotiate with. So that we'd have a hard time getting him on a good cheap deal. But for me, if you look to offer, maybe I'm being deluded here, 3 million, maybe something like that. Considering he's got a year left on his contract, he's not going to get in Tottenham's team. I don't. If you offer that so much, or even if it's like a couple of million more, I'd be tempted by that. And again, you could to develop him a bit, and you'll sell him on for another profit later on down the line. That's the whole point of this model. Josh Langley, yeah, same. I love Klopp. I think Roberts will become some players. You have to remember he's only 24. Oh yeah, Roberts, I want to stay, by the way, easily. Someone else put about. I think it was. Hang on, let me have a look. I think someone put if Clark could learn to. Oh yeah, Will Allen says learn to cross with left foot, and Clark will be great. Yeah, who knows? 21 good goes. Well, we'll see. Anyway, Thomas Huntley, Alan Brown from Preston Neal's worked with him and made him captain. Sorry, Paul Cook. At the start, I was not 100% on Clark, but he proved one of the best players towards the end of the season. Yep, I agree. I think he improved as time went on. Anyway, so Clark was one. So Foster, Davis, Sanderson, Kamara, and Clark. Tom Lawrence, if you can get him on a decent. Bear in mind, he's left Derby, not because he's obviously unhappy there, it's because he's not a League One player, and obviously he's a good enough winger for the Championship. So with Lawrence, I think it's a no-brainer for me personally. I think if you can get a decent wage bill out of him, if he wants to, if he'd be willing to come here, I can't see why he wouldn't be. If we ask the question, then it's a free transfer. And then you're talking the only slight issue of strikers. Josh Scott says Scott Twine, Nathan Broadhead again. Stevie Watts again says Scott Twine. There's plenty of players who could do a job in League One who could do a job. It's just finding those diamonds. Randoman, would you bring back Would you bring back Colback? Someone I know did a funny video on Colback many years ago, but yeah, no, probably not. And he probably wouldn't want to leave Forest anyway. Thane SSE, Thane says the one-time Clark used his left foot, it sent us to Wembley. Yeah, it did. To be fair, Tam said Lawrence has got. Thane says Lawrence has got attitude problems, but wouldn't be a bad shout in terms of ability. Well, we'll have to wait and see then on that one. Tam says, I just looked up Josh Madge's stats as he should be available. My memory's playing tricks on me. I thought he was more prolific, 17 and 49. So it's kind of averaging, what was it, just around about 1 in 3? Well, yeah, it's a 1 in 3 ratio. That's not too bad, to be fair. Covey says, get use out of Grigg. Yeah, probably go back to Rotherham. That'll be interesting to see Grigg play against us at the Stadium of Light next season. Anyway, so the strikers issue. Now, there's a few options that I've got in mind who I would go for. Madge, I said, is one I'd consider, but, I'm still quite annoyed at him for the way he left. But if you took Madge out of the equation, Nathan Broadhead, obvious one. The thing with him is, if you can get him on a decent deal, and also bear in mind that he's been injured for a year and he's got 1 year left on his contract at Everton, then I think hopefully that would play into Sunderland's hands. I'd like to think that you should then say, okay, you haven't got a right to ask for a great deal of money, and Everton need money. Now, I know they probably won't get much for Broadhead, but they would make a bit of money nonetheless. So for me, I would say anything up to $1 million to maybe $1.5 million, something like that, I'd look at doing. But any more than that, probably not. Depends on his injury record. The next one's Jamal Lowe from Bournemouth. But again, apparently, I think that he may end up wanting to go back to Wigan. I don't know. But with Bournemouth, I think, is he going to be good enough for the Premier League? Unless he does exceptional, chances are probably not. He's more than proven at Championship level, and I don't think his wages would be too ridiculous either. I'd like to hope not anyway. And the other one, and Alex Nolan's just asked about him, would you take Andre Gray, Michael? Yes, in a heartbeat, I would take Andre Gray. But the big problem again is the wages. Because I think he was at Watford, and I'd imagine he wouldn't have been on pittance. He would have been on quite a bit of money. Quite a bit of dosh. So I would imagine that he would cost quite a bit in wages. And this is the balancing act, because you've then got to balance Sunderland not spending well above their means, but also getting the right amount of quality to have a competitive season. So I would say if you can get so for me, I was so again so broadhead, uh, low, grey, that type of options. So what do you think? That's the so to go through the list again. Who I would look to try and look at Foster. If we get Ruddy, so be it. So we'd say Foster. Then you got Ben Davis, Dion Sanderson. Fullbacks yet to be decided, but we need at least one fullback in each position for me. And also send Try Hume out on loan because it's not good for him staying. So anyway, so Ben, right, I'll start again. So disorganized. Ben Foster, Ben Davis, Dion Sanderson, Kamara from Plymouth, Tom Lawrence, Jack Clark, and then Andrew Gray, Jamal Lowe, Nathan Broadhead. Those are the type of options I'd be looking at. But so I think of as well. Again, if you get the right deals, you could get them for modest fees, and also at the same time, you can hopefully not spunk loads of money on wages. Because again, we do have to remember we haven't got parachute money now. You've got the relegated teams. Okay, maybe not so much Burnley because they apparently haven't. They're not in great shape financially behind the scenes. But Watford and Norwich will have bucket loads of parachute money. Sheffield United and West Brom still have parachute money. So we have to watch what we're doing here. Josh Scott would be tempted to bring Dwight Gale from Newcastle. Clearly leaving there in the summer could do a job with Stewart up front. Yeah, I would. I think Dwight Gale would be very, very handy for this level. They promoted Premier League side Nottingham Forest are looking to sign Burnley goalkeeper Nick Pope, who is valued at 40 million. However, they will face competition from Fulham. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see on that one. Josh Scott, can you see Roberts signing the new contract he was offered? Yes, I think he'll stay. And I think a big part of that is because he's been out on loan for so much over the last few seasons that he hasn't had a settled home, has he? So for me, I think it makes complete sense. David McCowan? David, sorry, I've probably butchered your name, so I apologise. Citing JD's recent comments, let's bring Jermaine back with one last dance. Dane SCFC. Also, it doesn't seem like much is going to happen until new investment group comes in. Yeah, well, someone asked a question earlier, who's the new investors? And we don't know that. What I will say is I've heard somewhere, and I'm not going to go too much into it, but I've heard, and there might be nothing in this, so bear that in mind. But if there is something in this, apparently, if the group that has been suggested comes in, if the contact's right, then this could be a huge thing for Sunderland. But again, there might be nothing in that. I promise I keep it under wraps, but I've kind of mentioned it a little bit. But I'm trying not to say too much. Josh Langley, how many fans do you want us to have at the Sol next season? Ooh, not including away fans, about 35,000 really, because I think I've seen a number of people since promotion was confirmed that they want to get season tickets. And I honestly think that being in the Championship, and with the potential of Donald and Methven finally buggering off, hopefully permanently, I really do think that I think there's every chance of a good number of fans coming back. And you've got to remember as well, we've just come off the back of the 6 of the worst seasons in our history. So it's just a bit of positivity, really. Bradley Lungshaw, afternoon all. All right, mate. Will Allen will have 20k season tickets sold, I think. I'd try and push for 30k season tickets if we could. Stretch? Maybe, but I'd try and push for it. But obviously, season tickets don't count for the general match day stuff because people buy tickets individually. David says, haha, I get loads of variants. If I was McCaman? I'm just going to say it like that. That possibly was the funniest attempt on Michael. Fair enough. Will Allen so far? Yeah. Doug, out Football Channel, 86 watching, 40k likes, smash the like button. Yeah, thanks very much. If I can get to like 50 likes, I'll take that for a first attempt at a stream. Let's have a look. Right. Covey says, to be honest, I'm not thinking a lot about who we're signing. All my faith is in Alex Neil's decision. I think, again, Alex, we're probably going to have to balance it with signing experience while also signing players who can generate a profit in years to come. Alex Nolan, I know we were rumoured with him on the last day of the January window, but also under contract would be an issue. But what about Tosin Aduribayo from Fulham? Yes, that's not a bad option. Not a bad option. Sirius says, I'd be trying to get Jean Michael Seri since he has no club. Wages, that'd be the big problem, wouldn't it? Right, okay, I think we're going to start to wrap it up shortly because I can't believe this. I was going to try and be on for like half an hour and that's ended up going messed up, hasn't it? We've been on nearly 45 minutes and 93 people watching. 91, 92. We're around about 90 people. That's immense. Thanks very much, by the way. Alex Jones, right, hang on. The Dugout Football Channel. Right, Will Ibbotson, Troy Parrott, Bradley Young, John Ruddy. Yeah, Troy Parrott, I wouldn't snub my nose at. Dugout Football Channel. What are the expectations for next season? Now, this is the thing, right? Because for me, next season is all about making. Oh yeah, Thane says, wasn't it Congolo? Yes, it was Congolo. We were out for in January, but I think he is at Fulham, so still fair enough. As for next season expectations, for me, it's be above a relegation battle. I'd like to be a lot better than just being stuck in slogging it out for the 21st in the division. I think if you finish, dare I say, try and push for it. It all depends on. Oh, thanks very much, guys. 51 likes, legends, a lot of yous. But honestly, right, for my expectations for next season, I think if you're going to, if it depends entirely on what the ambition of the club is. It depends on what the board want to do. It depends on the investment they put in. Stevie Watts says 17th for Sunderland. I take that. Just make sure we are not in a relegation battle for me. Thane says mid-table minimum. It just depends how much ambition is shown. Well, as I said on Thane's last show, by the way, and by the way, me and Thane will be doing that in the coming weeks ahead of the new season. Start the new season. Thanks very much to everyone who watches and supports us there, and as well for anyone who supports on YouTube. But we said ourselves, it's so nice to have the conversation of what are we going to do? What are we actually going to do for next season? What's the expectation, as opposed to this is shit, League One again. But it's so nice for a change just to have conversations about the Championship, and we know the long-term aim, which is where the club belongs, which is the Premier League. But I mean, David Walker says mid-table. I'll take that for the first season back. I would. Dane says Championship, yeah. League One, boo. Oh God. Sirius says for the first time in our history, I think we will overachieve. Yeah, if we're near the playoffs, I will stress this. I think we will be overachieving. We'll wait and see. Geordie Tune for life. Well done getting back to the Championship. I'm being honest, not sarcastic. Thanks very much, mate. I wouldn't wish League One on anybody. It was awful. Stevie Watts says you'll start well, but fall off a tad towards the end. To be honest, like I said, I would take a season of consolidation. The way I look at the next few seasons is, I think within 5 years, I think we should be back in the Premier League, and I think that's realistic, and I think it's fair as well. So I would say the first year, first two at most, is about consolidation. Then the third season. By the third season, I want to be a top 6 Championship side, because I think we can attract, without being arrogant, by the way, but I think we can attract the players coming to get us to that point. And then by the 4th and 5th season, I actually think we should be able to be aiming to go up. Josh Langley, I heard a rumor that John Reese would want to involve fans in crypto if he gets taken over. Oh, yes, John Reese. I'm not sure on this, mine could be risky. Well, the thing is now we're in the Championship, we are going to be attracting a lot more type of investment. We're in a position where we can attract much better. So that was why one of the many reasons why getting out of League One was so huge, right? Guys, I'm going to leave it there now. I think like, comment, and like, comment, and subscribe. Come on, let's push to 60 likes. Come on, there's 84 of you watching. Just 2 more people hit the like button. That'd be really appreciated. David Mahan says definitely do more than these. You deserve a lot more subscribers and smash that like button, people. Thanks, David, man, appreciate it. Steve Watts says, of course you can. Big club. I think you can look up now. Hopefully, way we reached 60 likes. Get in. Right, guys. Thank you ever so much for watching. Thanks, mental, for a first live stream. This has done really well. Would you want me to do more of these in the future? Because if my computer doesn't play up or anything, I'd be up for doing this. And it'd be nice just to chat football. Maybe I might even try and do it once a week if I can be bothered. But I'm a lazy git, so don't count on it. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Honestly, Daniel Moore says, yep, do more, good Craig. Daniel Moore would be great. Thane says, how does this sound if BlackRock get involved in Soul Mix, the richest club in the world? Well, you never know, do you? Josh Langley, thanks for the stream, Michael. It was class. Bye, Michael. Bye. Right, I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to keep you any longer. Enjoy the Sunday if you're watching the Jubilee, or I'm not personally, but whatever way you want. Thanks very much. So again, okay, if you want me to do more of these, I will be happy to do more. I might even... Who knows? Maybe I'll do longer videos over the summer and then go back to shorter videos at the start of the season. Anyway, like Stevie says, have a good summer. It's nice actually to have a summer that's positive for once. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Love you all lot. You're all legends. And take care.